making of the dough. We're going to make the dough real quick. And Dawn said, "Why are you making dough like this? You could simply make it in the food processor." And then she goes, "I use my plastic plate on it." And this is the way it's traditionally made. It'll be made right on this board. When you're making the pasta, it's not about mixing the pasta. It's about coaxing the flour into the pasta. So at first it'll go slow. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna get this incorporated. You want to make sure that the dough is somewhat dry, although not fully incorporated, because you don't want to get a lot of moisture on your hands. If you get a lot of moisture on your hands will be super craggy, and then it becomes problematic later on as the dough gets smoother and you're mixing it on the table. It will put pieces in there that as you roll it later will snap the shapes. I'm not gonna knead it for a full 10 minutes because I'm gonna get really short-winded. So I've pre-rolled some here because it does take a while if you guys were watching me earlier. And then we're gonna go ahead and just kind of hand form this dough into a round shape, and then we're gonna begin rolling it. And at first, it's kind of a law of diminishing return. You think it's not gonna do anything, and you keep rolling it out and rolling it out, but eventually, it's going to get to the shape where you want it to. And as you can see, I'll draw my hands and kind of just pull it up. So if you're a swimmer, you maybe recognize the stroke. And then every 5 or 6, you just turn it and continue to get the shapes like this. And then eventually, you'll begin to pull it over the edge like this, just to stretch it out and get some symmetrical on it. You know, a machine is going to make you perfect pasta. But when you hand make pasta for somebody, that evening can become unforgettable. And I'll pick a little bit of it up, and I'll just roll it around the mattarello. And again, cutting the pasta, when you cut fresh pasta, and time is your enemy. If you get the dough and it's wet, and you slice it with a knife and you let it sit, it's going to get really sticky pretty quick. So when you look at your dough, and it's okay if it's a little wet, you just got to make sure that you're using enough flour between the layers so it doesn't stick. Okay, so you can just see I'm just simply taking a real quick knife work to it. And then here's the thing where a lot of people fail if it's real wet, which this pasta is nice because it sat out for a bit, is to make sure you separate it, right? And you can do some of this work ahead of time, but if you go back and it's really stuck together, the best thing to do is to go get a box of dried pasta and to cook it really quickly, because it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And tell me, and you know who I know? It's called experience.